What do y'all say we dive in and play some D&D?
Yeah.
Oh, how weird.
All right.
Was that you joining my dance?
I was
Or
stretching.
you just okay.
Oh,
All right. So, our story begins along the long road on the continent of Axeris. And we begin with Aldum. So, Aldum, you have been traveling for several weeks. You have been trying to find some odd jobs along the way. Unfortunately, in the part of the continent where you've been traveling, it's a lot of farmland, honestly. And so your skills have really not been very useful to a lot of them. Um, Stationed along the long road, you have found numerous garrisons. Every few hours or so, you come across a garrison along the long road where there are soldiers, but they would look down on you as not seeming to be well trained and in the service of the Empire of Jindala. And so you've been told repeatedly that you should head up to Mindrin, and you'll have better opportunities at finding adventuring work there in Mindrin. Would you have looked for a horse along the way, or would you have tried to even buy a horse with what limited funds you've been able to get, or would you be? Do you think you would be on foot?
I think I'd be on foot, especially if I wasn't able to make any money along the way. I don't think I'd be able to afford a horse yet.
Yeah, I think it would have been tough. But as you crest a final hill coming up towards Mindrin, you get your first view out over the sort of slight valley that it's situated in. You've been traveling to the east along along the long road with with large mountains on your left to the north, looming over you. And as you come over this hill, you can see that up a few miles ahead of you, coming out of a thick forest at the base of these mountains to your north, uh, is coming a thin blue band of a river. Um, as it as it um, reaches a large city, you can tell there's probably more people in this city than you've ever seen in a single place. You can't see into the city very well from where you are, but there are high walls surrounding it. Um, but just from the size of it, you can tell there are quite a few people there. Looking to the south, just past, you can see where the city is actually on a cliff, and on the south side, just past the city, you see where the river, as it comes into the city, exits in just a frothing, roiling column of white as it cascades as a waterfall down into the ocean that's been the coastline along to your right on the south. Um, so as the camera sort of pans around and we get our first glimpse of you, Aldum, what does your character look like?
So he is a tall male wearing animal skins that he'd hunted himself, dirty, matted hair. His left eye is clawed out, and he has claw marks on his chest as well. Uh, some tattooing, the marks of which are significant to his tribe. Um, he's not. He's pretty road worn. Hasn't had a chance to bathe much. Doesn't really bathe much to begin with, but especially less so on the road. And he's looking in amazement at the size of the city. This is the most people he's ever seen packed in like rats in this at the top of this hill.
Yeah, and you have seen you have seen people as you've been traveling. Especially, you just passed a city which is sort of, sorry, not a city, a small town, which is sort of the gateway from as people travel west from Mindrin to the out towards the farmlands. Um, uh, there's this small town called Fossa, and you just passed that city, and so there are caravans heading to both to and from Mindrin along the way there, and so you've gotten some sort of askance looks from people. Nothing, terribly. That's the word I'm looking for. Nothing hostile, but just kind of glancing over your way and then quickly looking away so as not to make eye contact. But you make your way to the gates, and as you're approaching the gate to the city, let me just give you a bit of a reference of what you're looking at here. So this is my fine artistic rendering of sort of this valley area. So you are coming in right now. You're standing. Whoops. Yeah. Right now you're standing here on the long road, looking down over the valley, and you see these are the up here the thick forest that that is out of which is coming the river, the Nander River, and the gate to the city is here, and then over to your right is this sort of cliff down which the waterfall cascades, and so as you approach, you can see other people are coming to the gate, and they're stopped by several guards standing outside the gate, and it seems like they sort of chat for a moment, and then the guard gestures and they go in. As you come up and it's your turn to enter the city gate there, a guard puts up a hand and says, "Hold, what's your business?"
I'm looking for work.
He gives you a very careful scan up and down. "What sort of work are you looking for?"
This kind of work. And he turns around and shows him the long sword on his back.
As the longsword comes into view, you see the hands of the soldiers sort of very automatically drift toward the hilts of their weapons. Nobody draws a weapon, but this is you've left an impression, and the soldier says, "We're not looking for any soldiers right now."
Well, I'm not a farmer. This is the only work I know. Maybe someone needs a bodyguard. I'm not looking to cause trouble.
He nods. Tell you what, there's an adventuring guild just inside the gate, right next to the closest station for the lightning rail. Ask there for Mijit Hark. He will he may have some work for you.
Thank you.
Move along. And so from there we cut to Sivan. Now, Sivan, you have been working for this adventuring guild, known as the Fortunate Brave, and you have decided that you want to ask Mijit for a different type of job, and so we're going to cut to Sivan as she is entering the adventuring guild hall there to see Mijit and have that discussion with him.
Could you spell that really quickly?
Yeah, it's I'll put it in the chat. Hang on a second. Oh, there it is.
Awesome. Thanks.
So what do we see as you go to enter the hall?
Not much. Sivan is a very mysterious figure. She keeps her hood up at all times. You basically just see a long, billowing midnight blue cloak. Keeps her face hidden, does not like to be in the spotlight very often.
Good. And so as you enter the guild hall, it's really set up to look basically like a tavern. And so as you come in, there's the bar, but there's almost no one there. The only person you see there is in fact Mijit Hark, and you've of course seen him a number of times, and he's a gnome, but he's tall for a gnome, and he's got this sort of greasy short hair surrounding a completely bald spot right on the top of his head, and he's got this sort of protruding chin and squinty eyes, and he doesn't look up as you enter the guild hall.
I will go over to where he is sitting.
And he's bent over a stack of papers and just kind of looking through them. And as you start to approach, he kind of startles and looks over. Oh, Sivan, I didn't see you come in.
Sorry, I did not mean to scare you.
You'll be the death of me, girl. What can I do for you?
I was looking to take on something different from what I've been doing so far.
His eyes kind of narrow a little bit. Different how?
Something a little less solitary, perhaps?
Something that would require a crew. Interesting. What was that?
I'm branching out.
I see. He starts to shuffle through his papers, and he pulls out one and looks over it and he says, "This one is very interesting. It could be
Interesting.
nothing. It could be nothing. It could be very, very fortunate. But I think it makes sense for several people to put their heads together on it because it's interesting. There's a gentleman by the name of Danvin Perch. Well, I hope this will not turn you against the mission, but he is a halfling. And you would know that there's a sort of a stigma among halflings in Jandala. There was a disease that went through the continent some like 60 years ago, and it seemed for some reason to only target halflings, but the cure that was created for it actually turned out to be a very addictive drug, which they didn't immediately realize, and so many halflings across the continent became addicted to this medicine, and wound up in a life of crime to support their habit, and the whole halfling race has just struggled for a long time, and so halflings have sort of become synonymous with criminals and the poor among Jindala. But he goes on to say, it seems that this Danvin Perch, I'll put that in chat too. There you go. It seems that this Danvin, his father recently passed away, and there were some papers in among this gentleman's possession, which passed on to Danvin himself. And apparently, the man's last words to Danvin were, "Find Nira." And somehow this is related to the papers which he was handed. I do not have them here. He refused to turn them over to me. However, he wishes to hire an adventuring crew and find out what he can about this mysterious Nira, who he does not know.
I'm assuming if I were to go and talk to him, he would allow me to see the papers. He just did not want you to keep them.
Yes, of course. I will give you a writ which will indicate that you are under my contract, and this will suffice for him to give you the details of the job.
Excellent. Who am I working with?
Well, I don't have a crew for you at the moment, but people wander in and out from time to time. So I'm sure if you were to wait around, pour yourself a drink, somebody will come along.
Okay. I will go over to the bar and get a drink. Is there a bar?
It is, yeah. And sorry, what was that?
I will get myself some wine.
All right.
And sit off in the corner and wait and watch.
All right. So with that, then we cut to Supaklu. And Supaklu, you are at your favorite watering hole. You are yourself sitting at a bar, probably not drinking wine, although you might be. I don't know.
No, definitely drinking ale.
Okay, I was guessing as much. And you as you're sitting there, you are getting this increasingly familiar and yet annoying itch. And you know of the Fortunate Brave, this adventuring guild, and you've decided to go and ask them for work. But as you are draining your mug of ale and preparing to leave, your waitress approaches you, and this is a woman who you know. You've been here many times. This is Benoa. She is a lovely half elf woman. She's unusually short for a half elf, but has long, straight brown hair down to her waist. And she says, "So, Supaklu, you got another job coming up?"
I can only hope. You know that I've been telling you about how I've wanted to start venturing out of the usual type of work.
Really? She kind of puts her elbows down and down on the table and leans over. So, your work has just been too boring?
It's just, I feel a little cooped up in the city lately.
Well, this is certainly a change. Perhaps it's a midlife crisis. She kind of grins.
Perhaps.
And as you're laughing, the door to the bar opens, and your eyes sort of automatically, out of habit, go to see who's coming in, and you actually recognize him. This is a man by the name of Hastor Grek. He's a big, paunchy human man with sort of a wild red curly beard. Very jolly, very gregarious. And every time he's a merchant, and every time he passes through Mindrin, he comes by the bar here and has a drink, and you and he have spent many hours swapping stories. Him telling tales of the road, and you telling tales of the work that you've been doing. And so as he comes in and kind of scans the room, he looks over at Supaklu, at you, Supaklu, and he says, "Soup, I knew I would see you here. What have you been up
Hasser,
to,
old
friend?"
You know the usual. You bring me anything good this time?
You know I can't give anything up. I'm a merchant. Nothing's for free. And as he's coming into the bar, behind him, you see another person who you don't recognize. Cole, if you would describe your character, please.
Okay. Cole is a fairly young man, very basic farmer's wear, pretty much, and generally pretty seasoned, muscular. But as you look closer, you might notice that he has no hair anywhere. No eyebrows or top hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cole Hastor seems to have sort of forgotten about you as you're sort of trailing behind him into the bar. And he sort of swaggers over to Benoa, and kind of throws an arm around her shoulder and says, "Benoa, it's been too long. How have you been?" And she kind of like puts a hand on his chest and kind of pushes him back a little bit and says, "It hasn't been long enough, friend. Your usual then." And he kind of puts a hand on over his heart. "Oh, you wound me, but of course, fair lady." And she goes off to get him some ale. And so Hastor comes over and sort of plops into a chair at the table next to you, Sipaklu, and he says, "So, I haven't heard any good stories for a while. Please tell me, what have you been up to?"
Well, let me tell you about this girl. Her name is Tally, and she's been doing some very illicit things lately, and, well, let's just say she left a mark. And I guess this would be a good time to describe Sipaklu.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought I had.
No, it's all good. So Sipaklu is a gray-skinned half-orc, and they're not very common here. But you can see that around his neck, he does wear a hood, so he is sort of like wearing it just loosely around his neck right now. But you have a feeling he might put that up maybe when some other people, or when he's around people he doesn't necessarily know that might not be as comfortable around half-orcs. But so he's wearing gray skin, or he's gray skinned. He is a little bit wiry for a half orc. For those of you who have seen other orcan kind, he just wears a simple leather armor over his adventuring clothes. But he does have two metal pieces of armor sort of covering his upper arms, which sort of clash against the simple gear that he's wearing. So. Yeah, that's like sort of the one piece of a little bit of ornate armor there.
Nice. So he sort of leans in and gives you a hefty elbow. "So this woman, she left a mark on you, eh?"
Yeah, and he pulls down the hood, and you can see right across his neck is a wicked-looking scar. It just goes right across, and Cole, if you're close, you might notice that it's definitely healed a little odd. It looks like there's a thorn, it's like a thorny vine that's sort of across his neck, but he sort of puts it back up. Yeah, she she was quite the handful.
Well, not the sort of mark I'm sure you were hoping for.
uh, you have no idea.
Well, I suppose that sort of thing comes with the territory.
Yeah, he sort of stretches a little bit, like feeling his old wounds. It does. Oh, it does.
As they're kind of talking, Cole just quietly walks over, pulls out a chair next to Hastor, sits down there.
And he looks over and he goes, "Ah, right, Cole," and he kind of slaps you on the back harder than you probably would have liked. "Cole, this is my good friend Sipaklu. Sipaklu, Cole. Found this one wandering around. Seems like he needed a bit of, he needed a friend. Thought maybe you could use an apprentice. What do you say?"
If he was looking for a friend, I don't know how he ended up with you. And that I don't know about an apprentice. I was just telling Benoa that I'm looking for something a little different than my usual bounty hunting.
Really? Like, different how?
Something where I can stretch my legs a little more.
Huh. Interesting. What do you say, Cole? You want to do some traveling?
I have already been on the road for a while. Might as well.
Works for me.
Well, there you go.
And
Just
you might
planning on
notice
heading
Cole
over to
kind
the
of
Adventure Guild.
staring at your tusks a little bit, kind of.
Yeah, I would say that Supaklu maybe sort of wiggles a little bit, feeling uncomfortable. It's not that he's unfamiliar with people looking at him, but he never really gets used to it. He definitely feels a little uncomfortable. I was planning on heading over to the Fortunate Brave pretty soon. Have you ever heard of them?
You're asking Hastur this?
Asking Cole.
Nah, kind of new in town.
Yeah, they're an adventurers guild. From what I hear, they might be what we're looking for.
All right, seems worth a shot.
All right.
All right, I'll
Well,
sort of wave over to the Benoa to come over the table so I can, pay for what I've drank tonight.
yeah, she heads over with a big frothy mug for Hastur, and yeah, she'll settle your accounts. Well, try not to get yourself hurt again, Supaklu.
No promises, but I'll tell you what, when I do get hurt, it'll be your drinks I come for.
I suppose that's all I can ask for. All right, so with that, we will cut back to Aldum, and we're playing with time a little bit funny. So, Sivan, this would be probably an hour or two after you've had your conversation with Mijik, and you see this human man enter the guild hall there. And so, Aldum, you see this gnome man sitting at a table, again, just looking through some papers, and off at a table to the side, you see just sort of a cloaked figure. Or would you be at the bar still, Sivan?
Probably.
Yeah. So off at the bar, you see Sivan, this cloaked figure, sipping some wine. And Mijit looks up as you enter Aldum, and he says, "Well, you're a big." What's my accent again? he says, "Well, you're a big one."
Yeah, they grow them big in Laura.
From Laura, you say? Well, you have come quite some distance. What can I do for you?
I was told you had work for me, Mijit. I'm not looking to swing a hammer or a hoe.
Well, as they say, fortune favors the brave, and the brave can always use some muscle on their side. Sivan, what do you think?
I turn around. I look him up and down. Still do.
Very good. Well, it seems that you have the beginnings of a crew then. Aldum, Sivan, Aldum.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Anything you two would converse about, or should we skip ahead to when the others show up?
Has the little one told you about pay?
About what?
Pay.
That is not something we have to. Midget, come here. Wait, did we leave? I don't know. I
No,
sit
no,
down.
you're still there.
Okay. I sit down next to Midget. Midget. What would the pay be?
Yes. Well, you know how things go, Sivan. We when things such as this turn up, we are the ones to make arrangements with the person looking for help, and we take care of receiving that payment. When there are, shall we say, potential treasures to be found, then those treasures certainly go to the fortunate brave. And he sort of gestures to the sign out by the front door, and he says, if treasure does not pan out to exist, then we give you a cut from the pay that we've arranged with whoever's asking for help.
I turn to Aldum and I say, does that answer your question?
Not at all.
He chuckles and he says, "You find treasure, you keep treasure."
He nods his head vigorously.
Very good. And so about that time, Sepaklu and Cole, you would enter the guild hall, and you see this conversation taking place.
We'll make our way over to the group.
Well, it seems we have several more brave souls entering our fine establishment. Looking for work, gentlemen?
That
Yeah.
we are.
And this one clearly brings the brawn, gesturing over to Aldum. What do you two bring to the table, as it were? He kind of looks down at the table in front of him.
Well, I'm kind of new to all this, but I can do like fire stuff now.
His
Seems like-
eyebrows raise as he kind of looks you up and down. Interesting. You don't look like much of a mage, boy.
Oh, right. But are there any open flames in the bar or nearby, like candles or anything?
There would be there are some like sconces around like on the wall. On the wall around the bar. You can't quite tell whether they're actual fire, but but yeah, there are a number of them on the wall.
Okay. Kind of look over and kind of. No, better not. Out of character, don't want to burn down this one.
Maybe not yet. He kind of grins and he says, "Well, I appreciate your restraint. And you?" And he looks over at the half orc. Are you you also swing a giant sword?
I'm more partial to the crossbow myself, and I've been known to swing around a mace every once in a while. But as you can see, and he holds up his arm, I'm not the strongest of half orcs.
Right. Well, Savan, what do you think of this as a crew? Do you think the four of you can investigate and take care of yourselves?
I'm sure we can get it done.
Very well. Well, sorry, I'm just pulling up my map so I can tell you where to go. So he says, well, you will need to cross the river and go to the second street down. There's a small blue house, and there you will find your Mr. Perch.
And I will fill everyone else in on what we are doing because I don't think I've done that yet.
Yeah, and so you would know, going back to this map again. Well, and Sipaklu, you would certainly know this as well. In the city here, there's actually a fair amount of technology. So there's these black lines that you're seeing throughout the city are actually part of this lightning rail that was mentioned earlier. So there are, by some sort of a magical means, there's a train that makes its way through the city on these various rails, and it's known as the Lightning Rail. And so the location that he's described to you would be over on this side of the river in this district marked 2. You all are right inside the city by this entrance. This is where the Adventurers Guild is, trying to catch people as they come into the city and providing an easy exit as well. And so, Savan, as you are describing the job, the details of the job that have been given to you so far, just as you finish that description, you feel the floor of the guild hall start to vibrate, and then and right at the same time, you hear from outside a huge explosion and screams.
Let's rush outside.
That is troubling, and I will run outside.
Okay. So the four of you rush out, and just down the street from the guild hall there, you see this stone bench sits right along the tracks for the lightning rail. This would be where people would, sit and wait for the train to come. There is now this blackened crater, and you see several several bodies strewn nearby, and just nearby, you see a dwarven figure standing right near the crater, and he shouts out for Wilena, and he grabs a something from around his neck. It appears to be a some orange like bead or something, and he leaps out onto the track where the lightning train would come, and there's another huge explosion as he hits the track, and that whole section of track is just destroyed in a large fireball. And you look, you're something catches your eye on a building nearby, and you see a symbol emblazoned on the wall of this building. Everybody make a religion check. Sivan, actually, you don't need to make this because you definitely know what it is.
0.
Cole, you have no idea what this figure is. Sepakli, you know what this is, or you sort of know what this is. This is a symbol of the goddess Wilena, which is a dove. It's a very sort of stylized, blocky drawing of a dove, but there have been some modifications made to this symbol, namely behind where the dove is sort of gracefully flying against a sea of gold in the background. Behind the dove is this plume of fire, and dripping from the wings of this dove are drops of blood, neither of which are normal for the symbol of Golena.
Supaku is going to rush towards all those people and see if anyone's alive or okay.
Yeah, and so, wow, I don't think we were going to get this far so quickly. Yeah, and so you rush over, and you see a human man lying on the ground, and half of his body is charred from this blast, and he's sort of with his good arm, he's sort of pulling himself along the ground away from where the blast happened.
Does he look like he could survive with what I know?
Make a medicine check. What are the rest of you doing?
I think I will also be over and see about this man who's dragging himself on the ground.
Yeah, Sepaklo, he is very near death. He might survive, but he's got some serious injuries. Go ahead.
Cole is just kind of staring wide-eyed at the explosions and just kind of and might look like he's somewhere else in his head.
Mhm.
Would I come to the same conclusion that this man is very near death?
You can roll a medicine check too, if you'd like.
Aldem's gonna go over to the tracks and see if he sees a train coming down either side, either direction.
Okay, make a perception check. Yeah, Savan. Yeah, you would also realize this.
Okay, I'm going to go over to the symbol on the what is it?
Mhm.
Just a wall.
Yeah, it's on the wall of a nearby, like a small shop.
Okay, I'm going over to look at it more closely.
Okay. Make an Arcana check for me. Okay. So this appears to have been it appears that it was placed there magically, by whom you don't know, but it was placed there magically and will probably fade before too long.
And I've never seen these modifications to the symbol before. No?
You have not.
Okay. I'm
Can I
going to.
try to? You're gonna go.
Sorry. Aldem, you were looking for a train. You're not hearing anything yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to reach out and touch the wall where the symbol is. Does anything happen?
Nope, nothing happens.
Okay.
Feels like a solid wall.
Can I try to ask this man what happened? The crawling man.
He looks up at you and he this dwarf, and he just kind of collapses, passes out.
The dwarf died in the explosion on the rails, right? I'm assuming.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, this is quite the eventful first job for us, huh?
As you're saying this, several city guards are rushing over and trying to help people likewise, and one of them approaches the four of you kind of clustered up and what happened here?
There was a dwarf who blew stuff up.
Yeah, he just stepped onto the track and looks like he just blew himself up.
Understood. What did this dwarf look like? And presumably give him the description, which I apparently didn't even give you.
It's very
but yeah,
dwarven.
the dwarf.
He was very short.
Yeah,
And
short and stocky.
short. And he
Had a
was
beard, probably.
Good guess. Good guess.
not that is helpful.
Actually,
It
no,
happened
he's tall and
too-
tall.
It happened too quickly to get a good look, but he screamed something about Walena.
The guard kind of frowns at this. Very strange. Very well. Move along. There's nothing to be seen here. The city will take care of this.
guess we're not taking the train, huh?
Probably not.
I'm used to walking.
Just gonna real quick. Cole is just staring ahead.
I'm gonna go over and try to shake his shoulder. Are you okay, bud?
Yeah, I'm fine. Let's
Yeah, I
go.
could see where this might be a little startling.
Welcome to Mindren. And I wait for us to go.
Let's walk it off, friend.
All right.
And then if he needs
All right.
support, I'll sort of like offer my shoulder to help him walk.
I'm fine.
Alrighty.
I'm fine.
Okay. So you are headed for the halfling.
Yep.
Okay. It's going to be quite a long walk, probably an hour or so. So from where you are here, basically you're going to have to, there's a bridge up here that that crosses the river, and under the bridge, just to give you some background about Mindren, the city of Mindren was sort of founded at the base of, or at the top of this waterfall, so that to make it, it was founded around solving the issues with shipping ore and other resources out of the. So basically, they wanted to be able to get these resources from the mountain to boats and ship them around Sephiria. But it's not necessarily an easy prospect getting them over the waterfall. And so magic users sort of got together and began working on solving the logistical issues around taking these goods and getting them over the waterfall safely, along with, you know, your typical shipping manifests and boating crews and just trying to apply magic to all the things, basically. And so under this bridge, there's a whole operation going of taking things off of barges and cataloging them and moving them, reorganizing them so that they can be so that they can be put on magically enchanted platforms that could get to the bottom of the waterfall. But you all make your way the streets of Mindren. You cross over this gigantic bridge, which also sort of serves as the northern wall of the city at that area. And you come to this house that Mijit described. And yeah, it's a small blue house. And yeah.
Let's move up to the door and knock on it, unless anyone has any other ideas.
That would seem to be the correct course of action.
All right.
All right. I recommend maybe I'm not the one to do it. Maybe someone a little more or less intimidating.
Well, Savon, you picked up the job, but I mean, I could try if you want.
Go ahead.
All right. Knock on the door.
All right. The farm boy is now the face of the party.
Perfect. Nothing could go wrong.
All right. So you knock, and a moment later, you see a halfling man open the door. Very sort of young and innocent-looking face. He's got this white hat and a black vest over a nice-looking white shirt. And he kind of opens the door and looks over the four of you. Can I help you?
Yeah, Mijit sent us to help you with a problem or job.
Oh, an adventuring party. Already. You kind of takes a second glance over the four of you. You have some documentation.
I produce the writ that Mijit gave to me, and I hand it over.
So he takes it, and so Savan, does your cloak like cover your face, or what would he be able to see? Because I mean, you're standing right in front of him.
Yeah. I would try to hide my face as much as possible.
Okay. He kind of glances up at you and doesn't say anything. But he looks down at the writ that Mijit had given you. Very well. Please come in. And he gestures for the four of you to follow him into what seems to be a pretty nice living room area. May I get you all a drink?
Sure.
I would, thank you.
Guess just water's fine for me.
Of course.
I'm good, thank you though.
No thanks.
Very well. Please make yourself comfortable. And so he goes, gets you a glass full of water. Now, I know that Mijit didn't have a lot of details to give you all about this job. It's and you see him kind of look down at the floor and collect himself for a moment. Well, it's my father. He passed away last week, and his dying words to me were that were all about some woman named Nira. It's strange. He's never talked about her before. He wanted me to, I don't know, make things right by her, or something. And when I went through his papers later, I found these, and he takes 3 papers from his pouch, from a pouch on his belt, and hands them out. Okay, I believe you all should be able to see these now.
Yeah, we can see him. Or at least I can.
Nira or Nero?
The name he's been saying is Nira with an A.
Okay.
Altum holds the journal page upside down and pretends he can read, just like everybody else.
So I am going to clarify with Danvin. You're looking for Nira, yes?
That is the name that my father spoke of. I don't understand why the paper says Nero.
And have you heard of this Formin Redgagger? Is that what it says? Oh wait, there are more pages. Oh.
Yep.
I only saw one. Okay. Oh, and there's a transcription. I was trying to read the script. Okay, that's helpful.
I was doing the same.
He says, no, my father has never mentioned this foreman.
So you got no idea who this Nero or Drayden is?
He shakes his head. I'm afraid not. I'm taking on your accent apparently. I'm afraid not. My father has never mentioned any of this. My mother's name was Clarenda, and very disturbing to me that he suddenly on his deathbed, his thoughts are of some other woman, Nira, and apparently this whole mystery surrounding her.
Are these dates recent? Like the entries?
These would be no, these would be like let's see. These would be at least 20 years ago.
Okay. Where's Razorfall? Would I know
Yes, I'm
that?
just about to ask.
Make a history check. $13. You're not sure off the top of your head.
Okay.
You don't know anything else about anything else in this letter? Your father didn't have another son or anything like that?
His eyes kind of widen. Not to my knowledge.
Was this his writing?
Sorry, say that again?
Is this his writing?
No, this is not his rating.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
So you just found this in his things.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Ken.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You just found this in his things?
Yes. It's some papers that I had never looked in before. It seemed to be along with some other memorabilia. I mean, it was alongside of the certificate that he had when from marrying my mother. But I don't understand how this could be so important to him and never have mentioned it.
Well, it seems like there's mention of an inheritance. So was he just trying to get you to the treasures that lie wherever this is?
He shakes his head. I don't know.
And I'm not great at the whole reading thing, but it looks like this last sentence just doesn't end. Like there's another page or something. You find something like that?
No, this is all that I could find. I've been through his belongings 2 more times to see if there were other pages related to this, and I've found nothing else.
Did your father have a study in the house?
A study?
Yes.
Well, he did. Yes. I've sold that house.
How did your father make his living?
Oh, he was a simple tanner who worked just outside the city. Kind of motions out in the direction of the city walls.
What was the establishment he worked at?
That would be the hide and seek. Sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you. And that is located just outside of town?
Yes, just maybe a mile. And you would know that there are a lot of folks who live outside of the city walls, who some of the more common trades type of people can't afford to live in the city, and so they live in smaller communities along the river. The poorer folk around Minrid.
Do you have any of your father's other belongings?
He says, well, I mean, we've been slowly selling off many of his clothes and things, what I decided not to keep, but I do have a small chest. Would you like to see it?
Yes, I would.
Very well. Please, this way. And you can see he's a little bit hesitant, but he shows you into his bedroom back in the back of the building, and at the foot of the bed there's a chest which he opens for you, and you see a number of mundane things. There's another hat. There's some simple clothes. There's a few more papers, but nothing that seems to be related to these journal entries. A pair of shoes, just a few other mundane things like that.
Do I notice anything off about the chest? Like, does it have a false bottom or a secret door or something somewhere?
Make an investigation check.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of go over the outside of it carefully. It doesn't, no hidden latches catch your eye or anything. Nothing.
Okay. Can you think of anything else that you can tell us that would be relevant?
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I don't know what else to tell you. What you see in the papers before.
If your father didn't share his secrets with you, is there someone else he might have told? Someone else he trusted?
He says there was a tavern owner also outside of town, right near where what was his name?
You're kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, I am?
Maybe.
Those sound all right to me.
All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all right.
Okay. Let me get a name for this guy. I think Father called him Storm, something like that. If you find some name like that, if you find the hide and seek, it will be the tavern right near there.
The what? Oh, the
The
tavern.
tavern right near there. Yes.
What is a 3x?
What was that?
What is a 3x? I do not know how to pronounce that in common.
Uh,
Whatever.
I do not I do not know. I've never heard of such a thing.
Okay. Have I heard of such a thing?
Make a history check.
No!
Oh, the dice are not happy with you right
We're doing great, guys.
Well, it seems like we have a couple leads here.
Yes, I think we are done here for now. If we have any other questions, we will come back and ask you.
Very good. Thank you. I miss my father very much, and it pains me to know that there's a part of his life that he did not share with me. I would very dearly love to understand what this was and why he kept it hidden from me all these years.
My friend, everyone has secrets. It is nothing personal, I'm sure.
Perhaps.
One last question. How did your father die?
Oh, he was he had a disease that took him over the course of several months. Um, he just simply withered away. Um, it was a common enough disease. The clerics were unable to save him, unfortunately.
Well, my condolences.
Thank you.
Now, shall we?
Sure.
Yeah, seems like we should head to the hide and seek.
Find this storm.
Or Strom. Or Tim.
Well, they are right near each other, yes?
That's what he said.
So we head in that general direction at least, and then we figure out where to go from there.
Sounds like a good plan as any.
Okay, so you find right near the bridge on the north side of town. On either side of the river, there's a door that heads out of town. A small gate that heads out of town into the community there, and you begin your search for the hide and seek. And with that, I always like to try to take a break about halfway through a session. So why don't we go ahead and do that now? About 5 minutes.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Ken, I have pretty much that same set of lights back in the corner. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, they're probably from Target if I had to guess.
I have no clue where I got mine from.
Pretty sure I kept them from my my apartment in college. I bought them for that, and I've just had them ever since.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yep.
I had something very similar in college.
That stuffed chair that I have over there right by the light. I got that for free the first time I moved into an apartment by myself. Somehow, I forget, somebody was giving it away or something. And so yeah, that has been with me since then, which would have been like 2000.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay. So you all make your way into the community around Mindrin. And as you're heading there, the sun is starting to go down. It's getting cooler. You probably have maybe an hour left before sundown. But yeah, so you make your way along. So are you looking for the tanner itself, or are you looking for the tavern?
Where do you want to start? Perhaps we should start with the tavern in case they close after sundown. I'm assuming the tavern will stay open.
That's a good point.
Well, if the tanner isn't already closed, since the guy died.
Did he own hide and seek, or did he just work there? I was under the impression that he just worked there. Well, let's find out.
All right.
All right. So you do find the hide and seek. It's pretty well hidden, but you do find it, and you make your way in.
I am going to hang around outside for a moment and just walk around and see what I can see.
Okay. Yeah, so out here, there's a lot of there are still people milling around. There's still kids out running around playing. A lot of this is not the formal town, so it's there's a lot of like makeshift buildings. I mean, these people are not like what's the word I'm looking for? They're not like completely impoverished. But they're certainly not living large by any stretch of the imagination.
Was Dabin's house pretty fine looking? What class would he be in?
I mean, it wasn't lavish, but it seems like he did pretty well for himself. I mean, he certainly, for him to have had a home in the city itself, that means that he must have at least been done well enough for himself that he probably owned a store or had some education, some trade that was that not just anyone could do. Oh, it was supposed to be a whisper. Sorry.
Well, fuck.
Sorry about that.
Okay. As the picture.
Sorry, what's that?
I'll just type it to you.
Okay, sorry.
Or, well, you're all gonna see in a second. As the picture, my token picture. So still hooded cloak, still the midnight blue ensemble, but very pale human woman, long black hair cascading down my back, all that.
Okay. So yeah, you see this, as she described, you see this woman come.
I haven't taken my hood down yet.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
But
So as far as you guys can tell, yeah, Sivan wanders away for a moment and then comes back.
Did you see anything?
nothing interesting, no.
Okay. Shall we head inside?
Sure.
Let's go.
All right. So this is a pretty ramshackle place. It's not. It's really not much more than sort of a big like canvas pavilion area, and with a table, and you see a gentleman at work there, human man, sort of bent over what seems to be some sort of a hide on the table, and he seems to
What on
be
the table?
a hide, some animal skin, and he seems to be rubbing some kind of a solution into the hide. And he looks up as the four of you come in. Just a moment, please. And he kind of finishes the section that he's rubbing into, and pulls a rag off the table and starts kind of wiping his hands off as he approaches the four of you. Well, you lot look like an interesting collection. Something I can do for you?
That's a good point. Did we get the dad's name?
You did not.
Okay. Fuck.
Yeah. Let's see. Dan Van Perch asked us to kind of look after something his dad left behind. Check around, see if we can figure out some stuff.
He kind of his brow furrows for a minute. You're talking about Creed's boy.
Yeah.
Afraid his father didn't leave anything here.
We were actually wondering if we could ask you a few questions about him.
Very well.
How long have you known him? How long did he work here?
Well, Creed worked here for a good 20 years. He's been here just about as long as I've had this place.
So you've known him for 20 years.
I have.
Okay.
"20 years. You ever say what he did before that?"
Sorry, I'm doing math in my head. But well, before that, I mean, he came to me as an didn't seem to have a whole lot of skill. Seems he just was mostly running around town and getting into trouble, but when he came to me looking for work, I was a little bit concerned that he would do shoddy work or not be very regular, but he hardly missed a day ever, and he was very quiet, very respectful. Seems like something must have happened that shaped him up.
Did you ever hear him mention the name Nero or Nira?
He thinks for a moment. Can't say that I ever did. What's this all about, anyway?
We have been hired by Danvin to investigate some matters that his father wanted him to take care of after his death.
You're not looking to kill anyone, are you?
No, not at all.
You look like a rough and tumble bunch.
Okay, now I'm gonna pull my hood down. I can keep them in check.
What was the last thing?
Oh, I said I can keep them in check.
Okay.
Oh, so that's what you look like. Huh.
We are just looking for some information. We have precious little to go on, unfortunately. Could you think of anyone else that might be able to help us out?
He says, "No, I'm afraid not, Creed." Well, he didn't talk a whole lot. He kind of kept to himself and stuck to his work. I know just about every day after work he would go over and he gestures to a tavern right next door. He would go over for drinks. In fact, as far as I know, that's where he met his wife as well.
One last question. Have you ever heard of the Razor Fall?
Razorfall. No, doesn't ring a bell. Sorry.
Thanks for your time.
One more question. Do you know where Clorinda is? Because
Clarinda's been gone for quite a few years.
what happened to her?
Don't rightly know.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
He just kind of nods and heads back to the table.
Let's get a drink.
All right.
I'll start walking out.
All right. So you are heading next door to the Fine Badger Tavern. And you come in and it's getting close to sunset by now. So people are starting to come in and get drinks, and it seems like a pretty lively place. There's a musician off in the corner. on some kind of a stringed instrument, just kind of fiddling away as you come in, and yeah, you see there's a woman at the bar serving various customers, and she's a rather plump woman with sort of graying hair, and she looks over the lot of you and welcome to the Fine Badger. Please have a seat, and we will be with you in a moment.
I will have a seat.
I'll also take a seat.
All right, and
I'm
she's
going to find a table in the corner if possible.
okay. Yeah, I mean it's there are a number of people, but it's not like it's standing room only or anything, so it's not terribly hard to find a table. So a few minutes go by, and she heads over to your table. And what can I get for you?
We were actually hoping to have a word with you, if that is all right.
She kind of looks back over her shoulder at the bar. Very well, if it's quick.
Did you know a man by the name of Creed Birch?
Creed. I think I saw him a few times. Yes, I've only been here for a few months, but I believe. And she turns and shouts to another man in the back. Strum, come here, would you? And
Is that Strom?
what's that?
What was the name?
Strom.
Strom?
Yes.
Cool.
And you see a stocky guy with sort of long curly black hair, black mustache, and thick beard, comes over. How you doing, folks? Something I can do for y'all.
We were hoping to ask you a few questions about Creed Birch.
And his face kind of falls, and he actually pulls up another chair at the table and sits down. You're friends of Creed's, are you?
Obviously. I will turn to the barmaid, I guess, and order a round of ale for everyone, and a glass of wine for myself.
Very well. And she rushes off. It was a shame seeing him go. Faithful customer. Many.
You're cutting in and out for me again.
Oh. You know what? I think. Is that better?
Seems like it.
So far.
I gotta be careful with that connection. It's kind of loose. So how do you know Creed?
We're actually working with his son.
Danvin's a good boy. Quiet type. Much like his father in later years.
Yeah.
Was he a bit louder in earlier years?
he is he kind of breaks out in a grin, and he says, "Well, he once he had a few in him. He had a few stories to tell. Apparently, he got around, and he was a bit of a bad boy, but shaped up apparently, made a career for himself, and a good home for Clarinda and the boy."
Would you happen to remember the name of any of his other companions?
Oh, there wasn't. I think there wasn't anyone in particular. He kind of stares up at the ceiling for a moment.
What about Nira? Have you heard that name before?
Furrows his brow. Nira. There was one time he was particularly drunk. He what was it? He's mentioned Nira, but it was something very sad. He dissolved into tears immediately after, and that was all we could get out of him. Some Nira that was the love of his life. Just don't say anything to Danman about that, because as far as he knows, Clarinda was the love of Creed's life.
Of course. Have you ever heard of the Daggerfall?
Razorfall.
Razorfall.
Doesn't ring a bell. What is that?
We do
No
not
idea.
know.
Strange.
Quite.
Well, I've never heard of this place. What is it you said you were doing for Creed's son?
You're investigating some matters that his father left behind.
Certainly rather vague.
Well, you
We-
understand. We're working for him. We can't exactly give all the details.
I see. Well, if you can bring any peace to the boy, certainly, I would love to see that. Creed was a good man.
Did Creed grow up in Mindred?
As far as I know, he lived here outside of town, and worked here his whole life.
Before he started,
Sorry.
before he started tanning, I heard he got into some trouble. What kind of trouble was he getting up to?
Just typical youth, going out and getting drunk and chasing women. Nothing criminal or anything.
Did he ever travel anywhere?
Nothing he ever mentioned to me. He's a bit of a homebody.
Do you remember any of his other stories?
Most of them, I was just as drunk as he was. Nearly passed out. These were the after hours sort of stories, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Did we see if this place is just a tavern or if it's also an inn?
I mean, you see a door in the back of it. You don't know if it lead. You don't know what it leads to. As far as you haven't seen anything that specifically says that it's an inn.
Gotcha. Because it's starting to get to be close to nighttime, right?
It is, yeah. It's probably right around sundown at this point.
Maybe it makes sense to find a place to stay for the night and pick this up in the morning.
Well, seems that way.
Do you have a recommendation of where to stay?
He says, yes, just down the street. There's an inn called the Fox and the Chicken.
You like your animals here?
He just chuckles. He says, well, we I got nothing.
All right, well, I guess we can finish our drinks. Anyone else have any other questions?
Not that I can think of.
All right, shall we finish our drinks and head out then?
Sounds like a good
Yep.
plan.
Thanks for your time.
Of course. If you need anything else, you know where to find us.
How much for the beers? The ales and wine?
He kind of looks over his shoulder at the woman to make sure that she's not looking. And he says, "Tell you what, these are on the house for Creed."
Much appreciated.
And just don't tell Joyce I said that.
Of course not.
Your secret is safe with us.
And he kind of pushes his chair back and heads off.
All right, so what have we learned? What do we know? What do we still need to know?
We have not learned much.
Learn this.
Presumably, though, the answers are here, considering he did not leave very often and grew up here.
Yeah, there's a few other names in that journal that might lead somewhere. Foreman Redgagger. That might be someone to look into.
I wonder if he did more in his youth than just shenanigans and scuffles.
I'm wondering the same thing.
Probable. So, you guys recognize the dates in this journal? Know if they're recent?
They are a long time ago. About 20 years ago.
It's actually probably more like 50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was saying at least 20 years before, but it's probably more like 50.
Okay. How old was Danvin? Approximately.
He would have been, yeah, he was about his mid-20s.
Okay. All right, let's head over to the inn, I suppose.
All right.
All right. So you make your way down. What did I say? The Fox and the Chicken.
Yes, that is what you said.
It is. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to figure out every detail, but you're able to get lodging there if you would like. It is 4 copper per room.
Is it one person rooms or two? What do you think?
You can put 2 people in a room.
I will get my own room, but thank you.
Fair
I'll
enough.
bunk with someone.
I'll take you up on that.
Already.
Yeah, I'll just get my own room then.
All right. So, yeah, Autumn and Sivan mark off 4 copper each, and I guess Cole and Spaklu, if you're going to split it, 2 copper each.
Works for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
And anything else you want to do for the evening? Pretty much calling it a night.
Pretty much.
I can't think of anything.
Out of character, I have a theory about what might be going on, but I don't think Aldum knows. So if I can make an intelligence check, maybe.
Sure.
Okay.
Above average.
Okay. I'll stew on it a bit and maybe talk about it in the morning.
As a part of my background, I have a criminal contact who I can contact. Can I contact my contact? I've been here long enough to know someone.
You'd probably have to go back into the city for that.
Okay.
Yeah, your contact would be inside the city somewhere.
For another day then.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I go to bed.
All right. So, you all take the evening to yourselves to ponder the events of the day and relax for the evening. In the morning, you wake to the smell of eggs and bacon, and a breakfast is provided for you all as part of the price of your room.
Well, this is nice.
Certainly is. So what do we wanna do today? We should probably start planning.
I was thinking about the time that these journals were dated, the years, and how far back it was. What if this wasn't Devin's inheritance? What if this was Creed's inheritance that he never followed up on?
That is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all.
So you think Nero was a pseudonym? Or Creed was a pseudonym?
Maybe he took a new name. No one seems to know much about him before 20 years ago. I don't know.
It is a possibility.
So then where do we look next?
That I'm not sure.
Well, we can track down this this dwarf if we want to try, maybe. Shake out some leads.
Wait, what dwarf?
Foreman Redgagger.
Yes, we should ask around for a Foreman Redgagger. That is really hard to say in the accent. I'm not very good at it.
Would Sipaklu know where dwarfs tend to congregate? Are they a people that tend to be in one particular area, or are they more spread out?
So the dwarves tend to keep to themselves. There are a few in the city, but a lot of them are involved in the mining operation up in the mountains. Yeah.
That was going to be my suggestion. Find a local mine, start asking there.
Would I know how far that is?
It would be at least probably at least a good 5-10 miles upriver before you start. Probably more than that even. You'd be going probably most of the day to get up to the mines in the mountains. And then, yeah, your best bet is probably to find out where you're going first, because you just wander up into the mountain. It could be quite a search.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trip without knowing exactly where we're going.
So let's find out where we are going.
Yeah, I can direct us to where some of the local dwarves congregate.
I think that might be a good bet if we want to chase down this map or wherever these notes lead, but these don't mention Nira at least. Which is, But it is a lead, so.
Do we have anything else? The other thing we could do is try and hunt down what the Razorfall is.
I might know someone who can help.
Oh.
I don't know how helpful it will be, but I can contact them if we go back into the city.
Yeah, if you know someone, it's probably easier than finding a dwarf from 50 years ago or a Daggerfall, whatever that is.
Razorfall.
Keep saying that.
Dagger, razor, same thing.
They're sharp. That's fine.
Before we head back into the city, does anyone know what that symbol was on the wall when that dwarf blew himself up?
It is a symbol of Wilena, but it was altered, corrupted. I would even go as far.
Has anyone's Have you seen that symbol before?
Not like that. The symbol itself, the dove, yes. But not with the blood and the fire. That is new to me.
Me as well.
Actually, would I know if there is a temple somewhere in town for Wilena?
Yeah, you would know, certainly. So the main worship in the city is of Benton, the creator god. But certainly, Wilena does have followers in the city, and you would obviously know where there would be one.
Okay, something to think about for later. So shall we start heading back?
Yeah.
No sense
Stretch
sitting
our
around.
legs.
Let's go.
All right, so you make your way back into the city. Where specifically are you heading? Are you looking for the temple or for your criminal contact or
I
something
am going
else?
to try and contact my contact.
Okay.
Where I might meet.
So, how close to your backstory is this contact?
I would say not. Someone I probably met either in the last year while I was traveling or someone that I have met in the last month when I was here. But not someone I knew from home.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Perhaps someone I
Think
traveled
about-
with. I don't know.
Okay. I gotta think about this. Okay, so within Mindrin proper, obviously things are generally much nicer than outside the city limits. However, there's a sort of seedy underbelly to Mindrin, and yeah. So back actually in the area where let's see, this would be over towards the eastern gate of the city. There is a tavern that you know of where name. This gentleman by the name of Alhorn.
Alhorn?
Alhorn, yes.
And how do I know him?
Oh, indeed. It's weird because this should really be tied to your backstory, but you don't want that.
Would that just make it easier? Could we just go with that?
No, I don't think you want to open that. can of worms. So let's say that you heard of this guy back home, but you hadn't met him until, and so that was kind of how you tracked him down. But he tends to smuggle things in and out of the city. So obviously there's a lot of shipping that happens in Mindrin, and he is known for getting things into shipments or getting things from shipments that might be harder to come by, and sort of selling it at a marked up price. Yeah. So let's say that would that be a service you would have used, or would it be more like you struck up a friendship with this guy to pump him for information?
Perhaps that one. I can't think of
Yeah.
really much that I would have use of a smuggler for.
Yeah, but you would certainly have use for information and
Yes.
keeping tabs on the kind of people.
Yes.
So let's go with that. I like that.
Okay.
So you make your way to this bar, and yeah, Supaklu, I think you would know, like, generally, Mindrin is it is a law and order type of town, so things are there's a heavy military influence because there's a navy, there's a shipyard with the Jindalan fleet has a number of ships docked there, and so there are soldiers throughout Mindrin, but there are certain areas where if you know the right people, there's and you certainly would know about it, there's certainly a criminal side to Mindrin, and as you approach this bar, you recognize that this is sort of the Mos Eisley of Mindrin.
The what?
Mos Eisley, as in Star Wars.
Oh.
Sorry, that was a jarring reference to me.
I just didn't hear what you said.
Yeah.
This isn't the best neighborhood.
Very astute observation.
So who exactly is this contact of yours?
A friend.
A friend.
We had an illicit affair a very long time ago. We remain amicable.
Huh. Well, that's good, I suppose.
All right, then. Won't dig too deep into that, I think. Lead the way.
Sorry, 1 second. My computer's being weird. Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you make your way into this bar, and there's a particular booth where Alhorn tends to hang out. And sure enough, you see him. He is this booth is in a spot where he has a good view of the tavern, and he's himself is kind of off in the shadows. But you know him, and so you make your way to the booth.
I slide into the booth and sit down across from him.
Sivan, it has been some time.
Too long, my friend.
And what is it I can do for you this time?
Say that again?
And what is it I can do for you this time?
Have you heard of a Creed perch?
What is that, a fish?
No, it was a man. I'll take that as
Well,
a no. Have you heard of someone called Nero or Nira?
oh, I can't say that I have. Is this someone well known that I would know?
No, someone I am trying to track down. I figured I would ask.
Well, I could put out some feelers if you would like.
Sure, why not?
And what is it that you have to offer me in exchange?
What is it that you want?
You know what I want. Always the gold.
Okay, that can be arranged.
Gold makes the world go round.
Indeed, it does.
Very well. I will see what information I can find. And perhaps you come back later and see what I have to sell you.
Excellent. Something probably not illicit information. Where might I find the mines in the mountains?
The mine. I can't say that I go up there very often. Most of my business, as you know, takes place, and he kind of
Right.
looks around at the rest of the party. Takes place here in the city.
Right, again, just figured I would ask. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Very well.
I will get up and walk out.
Sivan, dear,
Yes.
what do you know of this explosion yesterday? Many people are talking about rogue followers of Wilena.
I know as much about it as you do, or perhaps less. I will be looking into it though.
Would you have told him that you are a follower of Wilena?
I'll go with yes.
Okay. He says, well, watch your back. Not many people are happy about the happenings of yesterday.
You know I'm always careful, Alhorn. But I appreciate your concern.
Good.
And with that, I will.
Alright.
That was incredibly unhelpful.
That guy was a little slimy for my tastes.
Then it is a good thing you are not his friend.
I think it is.
Well, that was my idea. Where would we actually go to find out where the mines are?
Mm.
Just ask around.
You can ask random people if you want. Who would you? I mean, it's up to you.
We know that under that bridge, there's all that shipping going on from the mines.
That would be a good place to start.
Let's go find some trolls under a bridge.
Hopefully not.
I would prefer to avoid trolls if possible.
Especially at level 1.
Yeah.
We can handle it. We're basically gods.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, so you are headed to the bridge.
Yep.
Right? Okay. One second, I'm trying to find a thing. Go. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so you approach the river and so this would be right in this area. And as you approach, I mean, this is sort of the heart of Mindrin in terms of this is what makes everything tick, right? So there's a lot of activity around here, a lot of people rushing around, taking things off of platforms, moving things onto platforms. You see people scurrying around with scrolls in their hands and orders. What's your approach here?
Does someone want to go and talk to someone? And by someone, I mean not me.
I'm very good at talking to people.
I'm very bad at it.
I feel like I'm decent talking to common folk, but what do we want to try to get out of them? Do we want to try to find these mines or try to track down this red gagger?
I think both.
Both, yeah.
Well, your reason for finding the mines was to find Red Guy.
Fair.
I think it would still be useful to know where they are.
And I'll try to grab someone who's not actively carrying anything.
We should look for the one who's given the orders.
Or that.
So also, I think we should definitely find the mines because the journal mentioned a vault underneath the mines, I think. Was that what it said? Where did it go? It disappeared.
You should still have access to it.
No, yeah, I meant it disappeared as in like I could not find it, even though I'm looking at
Okay.
it.
All right. So Cole, go ahead and make a persuasion check as you're trying to grab somebody who's
Okay.
rushing past. Oh.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah. So
Damn.
you you grab somebody's arm as he's rushing by, and he kind of stops and looks over. He goes, "Hey, do I know you? You look real
Nah,
familiar.
I get that a lot, friend.
What's
I'll
up?"
say, kind of new around here. Think you could point me to the mines? Or like where I could talk to some folk who do that digging stuff?
He as you say this, a look of confusion crosses his face, and his gaze kind of travels from you to Sopaklu, to Alvum, to Savan. The mines, they're, he just kind of points north. He's like, they're in the mountains. I mean, there's lots of mines in the mountains.
Well, that makes sense.
You looking
But,
for something in particular?
Yeah, we're actually looking for some information on a guy named Red Gagger.
Red Gagger. He
Probably would have been a while ago.
he says, Red Gagger. I've heard that name. He's a dwarven guy, right?
By the sounds of it, yeah.
Far as I know, Red Gagger doesn't really do mining so much as he does building things. He's what you call sort of an architect more than a miner. So he knows how to dig. He knows where to put tunnels and how to build cavern areas that will that won't collapse. But he's not so much the sort of the grunt worker that's doing the actual mining.
All right. Well, that about adds up. You have any idea where we could find him or know where he, I don't know, somebody might know more about him?
He thinks for a minute, and he grabs another guy who's just about to go and grab a barrel, a barge on the river, and he goes, "Hey, Stinky, what?"
I think he means you, Alvin.
What?
He kind of turns back and shoots you a look like, what? He says, you've been up in the mines lately, right? What's I think, what would be a place up there that folks could go that would be able to find some dwarves that would know a thing or two about excavating and building things. And Stinky kind of looks back over at the rest of you, and he says, "Well, if you head up the main trail, and he kind of gives directions where you might, where you would find a trail that heads. Let me find the map here." Oops. Put you guys on the map, but didn't open it myself. So we are right here on the map. And the place that he directs you to is there's a trail that runs. Let me do some drawing. Come on. There's a trail that runs behind this mountain, actually behind both of these mountains, and there's an encampment, he says, on the far side of this mountain, where there are a number of dwarves who would be more of the builders type than the excavating. Apparently, there are opportunities there specifically for building vaults and things of that nature up in the mountains, and that would be where you would find people doing that.
Well, that sounds promising.
All right.
How soon do we think we can get there?
From his description, it sounds like it would be probably most of the day.
If no one objects, I'm ready to go now.
I would like to talk to, keep forgetting his name, Danvin, find out what happened to his mother. Don't know if it's relevant, but seems like information we should probably know.
Well, it could be something.
How long did your contact say it was going to take to get back to you?
He didn't.
I guess we could head out of town and come back and hope that he has something for us.
Yeah, that is probably a good plan.
I'll turn to the man. Well, thank you, sir. You've been mighty helpful.
Yeah, he's already rushing off to get back to.
Good man. What shall we?
We shall.
All right, so you get back across, find Danvers' house. That guy's house.
What?
It's a blue house.
Danvin.
I know that.
Keep checking my notes. Like, who's this guy?
Danny Boy.
Danny Boy, blue house, across the river.
Well, now I'm gonna.
2nd Street.
All right, yeah. So you head back over there, and I assume you not, and he comes to the door. You've information already.
We have some leads, but also some questions.
Please, come in. What have you found?
We are hopefully going to find this foreman, Red Gagger. We have
Okay.
it where we might find him.
Okay. That
And
sounds
we-
like a start.
Yes, we are hoping that he can provide some more information. But I forgot to ask, what happened to your mother?
You see a look of confusion and then sorrow pass across his face. Oh, she died when I was very young.
I'm very sorry. What happened?
You think this is related?
I do not know.
Oh, well, she, um, uh, sorry, oh, she died in an accident. She worked with, sorry, my brain is scrambling to make something up.
Elephants.
She worked with to death.
Elephant
Yeah,
trainer.
I don't know. It's nothing relevant. I blanking.
Sword swallower.
Children.
Explosion.
Stampeded by children.
Yes, all of the above, all at the same time.
Elephant children.
Woman.
Sorry.
I thought of man, so
Guys, for some reason, I don't think this is plot relevant.
what? What?
We should go away.
I just have a hunch.
Oh, worst GM ever. Ugh.
Having to make stuff up on the fly. Easy peasy. Come on, man.
Wow.
Well, yeah, sorry to hear that.
Horrible shirt factory accident.
I'm just drawing a blank. Like what?
Did your father ever speak about your father? About his father, I mean.
He says not a lot. He was he was a strict man. He had a lot of rules that my father was supposed to follow, and I think that they were not very close. But it was not something he.
Not something he, I'm sorry, I think you cut out there.
Oh, I said it was not something he talked about.
And did he ever talk to you about what he did before he became a tanner?
As far as I know, he's pretty much always been a tanner.
How old was your father when he died?
He was trying to remember. He was 53.
Okay.
Is your grandfather still alive? Is he in the city?
No, I never met my grandfather. He passed before I was born.
Did your father grow up here?
Yes, he's lived here outside outside Mindrin for all of his life.
And did he ever do any traveling, or did he just stay here?
As far as I know, he just stayed here. Most people, well, yeah, you would know. Most people who are not adventurers pretty much stay in one spot.
Gotcha.
Well, we hope to know more by the end of the day. We're headed into the mountains.
Very well. Please let me know anything you find.
We will certainly do that.
All right.
Take care.
All right. So you're all heading up into the mountain.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a good spot to call it for anything before we get into all that.
Because you need to figure out what's up in the mountains.
Because it's not relevant at all.
I wouldn't say that.
Because we just misinterpreted everything. Noted down the wrong things. Classic.
The joy of being a DM.
It terrifies me about DMing, even though I really want to try it. Like, I've done it once, and the whole time I was like, ah!
You just have to embrace the panic.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll get better at it over time.
No, man, you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not an
absolutely.
issue.
I've been in some like horror story games, and this is not anything like those.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason I did not think you guys were going to get anywhere near this far, and so I didn't have this stuff as prepped as I would have liked.
Gotcha.
I mean, we could have slowed down. I could have accidentally burned down that one tavern, you know?
Could have fought some guards.
That would have been a great way to start.
And hey, then Cole wouldn't be there next session.
Alan gets stopped by the guards at the gate entrance and immediately draws his weapon and just starts slashing.
It crossed my mind. It's like, I'm not gonna...
Really, we should probably investigate this this mysterious accident. Yeah, the shirt factory. Wait, shirt elephant children factory accident.
Yes.
You're talking about the trade, but yeah.
Oh no.
I want to investigate that too.
Most importantly, though, how did this kid's mom die?
It's the key to everything.
Oh wait, was that the accident? Did she just die in this train accident? It all comes together. Oh man, we've unlocked it.
Yep, campaign's over.
It all ties together.
Solved it all. All right. Well, hopefully it was at least somewhat interesting. You guys have some leads to follow up on.
Yes.
Very mysterious goings on.
Yeah, that was cool. I really liked that it wasn't really spoon fed at all. Like I was genuinely lost for most of the game, but it's
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this particular adventure really is more of a mystery than an action-packed. There's not a lot of combat in this part. Hopefully, at some
That sounds
point.
like a challenge.
I mean, there always can be if you want.
Seems like these journal entries, we need to like read through them again and see if there's anything we missed
Yeah.
over the next week, and just like make sure that we're not missing something obvious.
And for me, it comes to the discrepancy of what would I analyze about him and what would a simple farm boy who can barely read analyze
Oh,
about
that's a
him.
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always that.
Was,
So I
was
guess it's
everyone
canon that my guy misnames things over and over again. Tupaklu
Dang
cannot
it.
remember the name of locations.
I can't remember Danvin's name. There was actually a thing in the first campaign I ever played. I made it a character choice that my character never remembered anyone's names because I took no notes and I have a terrible memory.
Ooh, that's good. That's like my real life. Like people that I've worked with for years, I still won't call them by their name just because I'm like terrified that I'm going to get it wrong, even though I
Yeah.
know exactly what their name is.
I do that with extended family members because I have a very big family. So
Oh,
I'm
there
like,
you go.
"Ugh, I know your name, but what if I don't?"
What if I just call you pal instead?
I've been in situations where I never actually learn their name, and it's way too awkward to ask.
Yep.
Weeks down the line, so just hope it comes up at some point
Yep.
to save yourself.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is like if you're at work, you can just be like, "Oh, what's your last name again?" And then you just look them up. Like, because my work, I have like a big Outlook
Like a directory.
address
Yeah.
book or directory. So
Yep.
I'm just like, "Oh yeah, what's your last name again?" And then they'll say it, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I'll just look them up.
We do the same thing and try and find them on Facebook. If people
Oh,
still use Facebook.
I use Facebook for gaming things, and that's it.
That and birthdays.
Ooh, see, I'm not on Facebook enough to actually get the birthdays, so I've just given up.
Fair.
I use Facebook for the Messenger app. That's it.
It's very like 2009 of you.
Well, I have international friends and people that I can't really text.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That wasn't meant to be like a put down. I'm sorry.
I wasn't offended by it. I just
Okay,
thought it would provide some insight as well.
that's fair. All right, bedtime.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah, it was fun. Don't be too hard on yourself, Andrew. It was a lot of fun.
I had a
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah.
I'm glad. All right. Well, I have a lot to write for next.
Good luck.